So hello and welcome to Let's Talk SEO. But the recent decline in HubSpot's SEO or their traffic has stirred quite a bit of controversy, and I've been seeing this uh, from many people on Twitter that they've been discussing why HubSpot suddenly has lost a great deal of traffic, and whether or not this means that AI is taking over. And also, there are conspiracy theories about uh, HubSpot falling out with Google. So Google decided to tank HubSpot, or because HubSpot was probably sold to a Google competitor, which is why HubSpot has seen a recent decline in their organic traffic. Now, in this video, I'm going to break down what I think is the reason behind the the loss of HubSpot's traffic, and mainly what we can learn from it. So that's the most important part. Is like, what can you learn from a recent decline in HubSpot's traffic? Does it mean that you shouldn't do a great deal of content? Does it mean that you shouldn't do AI content? Does it mean that Google can detect AI content? What does all of this mean? So in this video, I'm going to try and break this down for you so that you can take this information and improve your website and also avoid a lot of the mistakes that HubSpot has made. If you like the video, like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. It's always welcome. And if you're looking for someone to do SEO, visit cloudseo.dubai.com. So let's get back to HubSpot. Okay, so for reference, the images that you see are provided by Search Engine Land and also by another website called cuttingclubbeauty.co. So all of the images here come from there. You can also read those articles. Search Engine Land has quite a pretty good article about the decline. Even though I wouldn't agree with everything that Search Engine Land has to say, I would definitely love to have a look at HubSpot's GSC or Google Search Console, just because there's so much that I can learn from it. So what exactly caused this? So the first thing, and I've been hearing this a lot, is keyword stuffing. So HubSpot was aggressively stuffing keywords into their articles, and that was leading to over optimization. Now, in the past, that was the case where HubSpot used to do that aggressively, but that is not the was not the case, at least in the past 3-4 years. And a lot of the content that saw a decline or lost most of their traffic was the ones that they published in the past 3-4 years. Of course, they have some content that dates back, several years, up to like maybe 10 years ago. But interestingly, most of the decline came from their recent traffic, which means that it wasn't exactly keyword stuffing that led to the decline in HubSpot's traffic. Uh, the second thing I've been hearing, and I'm just trying to debunk a lot of the stuff that SEOs have been talking about on YouTube, is stagnant SEO strategy. So they're saying SEO is not static. You shouldn't just do the same thing over and over again, which I agree with. But the problem is that this is an incorrect statement that they were using stagnant SEO tactics. I know some of the people that used to work on HubSpot's SEO, and I can tell you that they were not using outdated or methods that do not work. In fact, their SEO was amongst the best in the industry. So I cannot fault them on their SEO. So that's definitely a myth. That's something that needs to be clarified. The second thing people keep talking about is, as a major search engine like Google, they're algorithmically penalizing websites because of quality reasons, and it was because HubSpot's quality wasn't great, is why they got dinged. And this has some truth to it, but there's a lot more nuance to it. So the problem when it comes to the algorithmic penalties thing is that HubSpot had a lot of content that was similar or same. So we had a lot of stuff that was like they're writing about the same things multiple times. There were multiple instances of it. And so what eventually happened was that Google said, you know what, they have multiple instances of the same types of content. So, we'll just decide to keep one instance of the content and remove all the other instances or de-index those instances. And so it's essentially that is what happened. And that is leading to a lot of people uh, saying or assuming is why HubSpot lost all of that traffic, which is not necessarily the case. Okay. The other thing now there are a few reasons why I think HubSpot lost traffic. The first thing is that they had overly done their content. So there was way too much content, and there was way too much content that was not providing value. And this is what I tell all of my clients is when I take on a client, I'm looking at what kind of content they've been generating. Most times if I see that their website was dinged and it was a content issue, is because they had the same types of content that were low value, that were low interaction, uh, and they didn't really do anything for the reader and didn't actually do anything for the site. So every piece of content that you publish on your website should have a purpose. It shouldn't just be because it's something that's trending or something that people want to read. It should be something that people want to read in your industry and it is directly relevant to the service or the product that you're trying to sell. If it's not relevant to that, do not publish that piece of content. And so essentially what Google has done, it develops a profile of your website. So let's say you are running a web design agency, but you've got craft articles, the low quality articles about SEO and web design and maybe about social media. So Google will say, you know what? We think this is a web design company that sells web design services. So all of this content about SEO is irrelevant. All of this content about social media is irrelevant. So it doesn't add any value to the reader. These guys are not really experts of SEO or social media. So all of this content we can do without. Okay, so all of that gets de-indexed, or you just lose traffic to it altogether. Even if it's not de-indexed, it'll just be deranked. So this is what essentially happens. So whenever you're publishing content, and I've been saying this for years, whenever you're publishing content, I'm not talking about AI, I'm not talking about anything else. It should have a purpose. If it does not have a purpose, aligns with your website's goal, you shouldn't be publishing that piece of content. Now, there's a lot more nuance to it, but this is what you should be doing. The second thing, and the second reason why I think HubSpot got dinged was because it wasn't, it was like a lot of low interaction. So by low interaction is like people who come in, they would, just spend 3 seconds on an article, click back to Google. They wouldn't find any value in most of the content on HubSpot. And this is something I was hearing from some of the guys that were working on HubSpot's SEO team, some people that are working on their content team, that they were getting boatloads of traffic, but most of those people were not interested in the content on that site. And so what Google essentially saw that is that this is not user-first content. Users are not interested in this content. And so eventually it kind of fizzled out. So that's another reason. And the final reason, and I think this is probably the biggest reason why we shouldn't just do mass content, is because it was of low quality. And the quality of the content matters a lot more than who's writing it. Now, even if Google has a way of detecting AI content, which I don't think Google has, and I'm clarifying this, Google knows what types of content are driving interactions and what kind of content are driving engagement. If you're not driving interactions and you're not driving engagement via your content, Google will flag it as low quality. Eventually, you will see the content decline over time till it reaches a point where it is no longer valid or it's no longer appearing in search. And this is what happens with a lot of content-heavy websites. If your only SEO strategy is to just write a boatload of content, AIO or otherwise, you're going to eventually be at a point where you lose traffic, which means it's not a viable strategy. So if you're going to do content, it should have a purpose. You should have a content map. You should have a plan. And you should have an expertise in the subject and write specifically to what your goal is. So I hope you guys found the video useful. Let me know in the comments below what you think why HubSpot lost its traffic and whether or not HubSpot will be able to regain that traffic. Like and subscribe and all this, and I will see you guys in the next video. Happy ranking.